So when you went out to the scene at the time, you were looking to speak with other witnesses, correct? If there were any.
Originally, when I first got to the scene, yes.
Okay.
Yes.
You were trying to speak with as many people as you could, right?
Yes, I did.
Okay. And you had access to the cab reports and the 911 calls, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you had access to the 911 calls themselves, correct?
Eventually, yes, I did.
Okay. And anyone you spoke with, you would have put that in your report, correct?
Yes, most of the general information. I don't necessarily put all the details, but yes.
Okay, but like their name, right?
Not always. If they don't wish for their name to be included, if I can exclude them, I will.
Fair. But you never spoke to the 911 callers, did you?
No.
Even though you had their name and contact information, right?
That's right.
Even though you were aware that one of them wanted to speak to the police, right?
If I was aware of that, I would have spoken with them.
All right. I'm going to approach you with what has already been previously admitted into evidence and marked as states 1NN Nancy Nancy.
Okay.
Okay. And that is one of the cab reports you've reviewed, correct?
It appears to be a cab report from the case. I can't say I reviewed it, but it seemed to be from the case, yes.
So you didn't review the cabs, or you did?
Well, I look at it, I verify that it's got the right address on there, and if there's any information as the case progresses, and if I need to get back in touch with anybody like a 911 caller, I would do that.
Okay. So you didn't see the...
And I would use the cab report to get that number.
Okay.
And name. In this particular case, I didn't see the instance to it. Didn't need it.
You didn't need to see the person who wanted to speak with you?
I wasn't aware of that person.
So you didn't review the cab?
I looked at the front page. I didn't read every word. No, ma'am.
Okay. So you didn't listen to the 911 calls?
No.
Okay. So if you're trying to speak to as many witnesses as you can, why wouldn't you speak to the 911 caller who wants to speak with you?
Again, I didn't get the word that they wanted to speak with me, or I would have. My plate was pretty full. I talked to a lot of people when I did a lot of work that day.
Oh, okay. You were too busy.
Yes, I was busy.
Okay. So when Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Uten, no, let me back up. The photos of the 7.62 shells, you didn't take those, correct?
I did not.
Okay. Were they just sent to you? Is that right?
Yeah, they were included with the report, yes.
Okay. And so is it from those photos you pieced together, let's see what the exhibits, say 10NN that you've drawn a line on? 10NN, you drew this line, correct?
I did.
Okay. And this Earth image or whatever it is, that accurately depicted the apartment complex as you observed it, correct?
That's correct.
Okay. So, and the line on the left side where it starts, that's your belief, that's where the 7.62 shell casings were?
That's correct, yes.
All right. So, looking at 59NN, what is it you see next to kind of that entryway, exitway by the sidewalk to the building?
Well, I see a satellite dish and an AC unit.
Okay, AC unit. And then you were standing at that AC unit looking at the parking lot. What is to your right? We have a line of bushes.
turn around here. I don't understand what.
If you're standing next to that AC unit with the AC unit on your right, you're looking at the parking lot. Do we have a line of bushes there?
Yes.
All right. So looking at 10NN, officer, you said it was consistent. What happened to that line of bushes?
They're not there.
Okay, what happened to the AC unit?
It's not there.
So how is that possible?
Well, when I got the information from the officer, I memorialized what he told me, what he found. He said it's by the Y building. I was assuming that Y building was where I indicated right there.
Oh, okay, so you
on
just
that.
assumed that.
I did, yeah.
Okay.
It's in the same complex. The picture with the shell casings is in the same complex. I think it's in the next building back in that little courtyard.
Okay. But so you didn't go out to the scene and see where those 7.62 casings were, right?
I've said that a couple times.
So you can't say for sure, actually, that 10NN is even where those were found, right?
That's correct.
Okay.
I can say they came from the complex, but
Fair.
exactly where in the complex, I don't know.
Fair. And with this image, I'm going to point you to, I guess I can't really point to it. That corner right there, right?
Yes.
That's where Ms. Smith indicated one of the shooters would be, correct?
I don't recall that.
Where do you recall she said the shooters were?
She said, if my recollection is correct, she saw somebody walking out of the breezeway.
Here?
Yes. I believe, yes.
Okay. So all those casings should be right there.
Yeah, but the buildings are very similar in design, and there's two sets. So there's a breezeway that goes through both sets of buildings.
Okay. So they're very similar. So
it's easily confused, is what I'm saying, as far as locations, because the buildings look very similar.
okay. So you may have been easily confused, right?
I was confused, yes.
Okay. And Ms. Smith, during the earlier parts of her interview, she had only talked about one shooter, right?
I recall she said she saw someone with a long gun, and she heard shots. I don't recall if she indicated whether there's more than one shooter or not. I don't remember that. Should I refer to something?
So earlier on in the interview, or when in her interview, I think you talked about, she said some things which weren't consistent.
Yep.
And then you consoled her.
Yes.
And then she was more consistent after that, right?
Yes.
So when was it that she began telling you, back this up. At what point between those did she go from one shooter to two shooters?
I know when she described to me, she said she described the two guys that she was with, and she described each one of them having a different kind of weapon. I recall that, but I don't recall if she stated that she saw anybody shooting. She stated that she heard shots and ran.
Okay.
Saw both of them with guns, but I don't recall if she said she saw them shooting.
I guess my question was, when in her interview, before or after the consoling?
It was after the consoling.
Okay. Because before that, it was only one shooter, right?
I knew that story she was telling me was crap, so I really wasn't paying much attention to it.
Okay.
So I don't remember what she said.
And it was between what was the consoling? I'll go there.
What was what?
When you consoled her.
Mm-hmm.
What do you mean by that?
Well, I'm a husband and a father. I've got a daughter. I just spoke to her in a fatherly tone, assured her of her safety, and calmed her down and encouraged her to tell the truth.
Okay. But she didn't start doing that until after she was told to, I think, sing her ass off, right?
I don't recall if that was said or who said it.
You don't recall that?
I'm not saying it wasn't said. I just don't remember who said it. Yeah.
Okay. And there were discussions during that interview about whether she was implicating herself, right?
I don't recall.
Whether she could be going home or not?
I don't remember that.
She wasn't concerned with, or didn't seem as though she was concerned about getting in trouble?
She was concerned about getting in trouble, yeah.
Okay. And so I want to back it up. She came in, she's telling you a bunch of things, they're not adding up. You console her, and then she is telling you something consistent with the evidence, right?
Yes.
Okay. But that part didn't happen until you were the first one to bring up that someone had a rifle, right? As opposed to just a small gun, right?
I indicated that there were two types of shell casings, a rifle round and a small caliber.
Okay. Before that, she had not described two types of rounds, correct?
Like I said, I haven't seen that interview in quite a while. I do not recall.
Okay. You're the one who brought up a second person there to ambush, right?
I described two types of shell casings indicating that it was two shooters, yes. Implication there is there's two shooters.
Okay. So you made that implication, and then we had two shooters, right?
Yes.
Okay. What more did you do to confirm what she was telling you?
And do you have an example that you'd like me to answer? Because she told me a lot.
Right. She told you about different things that Mr. Mitchell did or Mr. Uten did, right?
Yes.
And those weren't consistent with what you would learn from them, right?
Yeah, they were fairly consistent.
Okay. So when you spoke to Mr. Mitchell, that's when you learned about him putting a gun to her head?
Oh, yeah. She did say that about him, yeah.
Yeah.
Again, that's the story I didn't believe her, so I forgot about it, yeah.
So it would make sense if she's telling you these stories that you would want to confirm them, right?
If it's the truth, yes.
Right. And she told you things about, well, let me ask you. You never went back to Mr. Uten or Mr. Mitchell and asked about whether everyone had been chatting together, like she told you, right?
Oh, no, they described in their interview that they had been texting with the girls.
Oh, I'm sorry. I meant that everyone, the defendants, everyone came out and was chatting together before this happened.
I don't think that came out with Mitchell and...
Okay.
Yes.
All right. So they didn't say it, she did, but you didn't go back and say, hey, this witness told me this. No? Okay. And You didn't go back and look at her Instagram records, right?
I don't think so, no.
So you couldn't confirm whether she said she'd been talking to the victim every day, right?
Bless you, the victim. No, I didn't.
Okay. You could have, though, right? Because you said you got her records, or you ordered them, did a warrant for them?
Yes.
Okay. And she told you about a specific type of van that Mr. Ryan's mother drove, correct?
Yes.
You didn't go check and see if she actually had a van like that, did you?
Yes.
You did?
Yes.
And that's in your report?
I don't think so, but I did do it. I noticed it. Let me go check. It might be in the report. We went to go talk to his mother.
Mm-hmm. She was cooperative, right?
She was.
You didn't ask to search the van, did you?
No.
And that van would have been, based on what you were told, used basically as a getaway vehicle, right?
Yes.
So it could have a murder weapon in it, right?
Yes.
Could have gunshot residue all over the steering wheel, right?
No, unless it was shot from the car.
Okay. Those wouldn't transfer from someone's hands?
I don't know, maybe.
Maybe. But you didn't get a search warrant to check either of those things, did you?
No.
And within just a few hours, you had an address for Mr. Blaylock, correct?
I did.
And you didn't get a search warrant for that apartment either?
No.
So you made no effort to look for what would have been the alleged murder weapon, right?
That's correct.
Okay. That would have been useful, right? If you had that, that's great evidence.
I've worked 100 murders. I never got one.
Never.
Ms. Abbasi, let's pause for a minute and take our morning break. And if you do, you want him to look at whatever that
Oh, sure.
portion was while we break? Okay. All right.
Sure. He's welcome to, and officer, I'll hand you your other transcripts and you can look at whatever you need to.